Magic is funny. And Minecraft Dungeons has a lot of options when it comes to artifacts. For every build, your 3 artifacts provide so much utility, whether damage or support or something else. In fact, it's really difficult to group the artifacts by what they do or even rank them in general, so this is an artifact video. I'm going to go through every artifact and talk about its niche, and then just for fun, I'm going to put them on this tier list that has no real significance because it's funny. There are a lot of artifacts. If you don't know artifacts, you can have 3 of them. They go right here, and they do all sorts of things. So if you don't know how they work, just watch a few and you'll start to get an idea of, how they work. There's a lot of artifacts, jumping right into it, starting with the Blast Fungus. The Blast Fungus is from the Nether DLC and blows up the area around the player by throwing these funguses in the air. It doesn't do much damage, but it has a good knockback and a pretty short cooldown. It's very good against mobs with shields like vanguards, and almost feels like a wind horn mixed with an updraft tome. But at the end of the day, the damage falls off really hard late game, and it isn't too valuable because, spoiler alert, the wind horn isn't that valuable, and the updraft tome is good, but only because it does damage. The Blast Fungus is a pretty strong B tier, but there are better options. The Boots of Swiftness are flat out one of the best artifacts for speedrunning, allowing you to double your speed all the time if you have cooldown. Additionally, it's great early and mid game just for movement and will allow you to beat many more levels way quicker. S tier, no questions. We got our first pet here with the Buzzy Nest, which is kinda unfortunate because it's not like any of the other pets. It's one of the strongest pets by damage and health since it makes more bees, so on first glance it feels like the strongest pet. However, the hive doesn't follow you when you move, so it can honestly be very difficult to use outside of Apocalypse, where at Apocalypse you can build around it easier and you're not moving around as much. I love the bees, but not this artifact. Very mixed feelings. I honestly don't know where to put this, so I'm just going to put it in B for bees. If you've seen any trailer or promotional material for this game, you know what the Corrupted Beacon is. Our first soul artifact, which uses the unique energy souls, which you get by killing a mob. There are other ways to get souls, but honestly it doesn't matter too much for this artifact because they don't work here. This is a fantastic ranged damage source and a burst for early and mid game, but at Apocalypse you would probably want to build based around Soul Siphon, which gets you more souls more reliably when you're attacking with your melee or ranged. The issue here is that if you're using the Corrupted Beacon, you're not using your melee or ranged, so you can't replenish souls, compared to the Harvester, which in my opinion is a much stronger soul artifact in general. Regardless, this is really strong in the early game, and in general, it's just cool looking. And it also is the only artifact with a unique variant. It's called the Corrupted Pumpkin, and you can only get it from, was it the original Spookier Fall? Spooky? I forget what the event's called. I actually don't even have this one, and I can't get this one, but regardless, B tier. The Corrupted Seeds are from the Jungle Awakens DLC and give a really unique utility. Unfortunately, the utility isn't that helpful. It locks down nearby mobs, preventing you from getting swarmed while poisoning them. The poison doesn't do much, but it does break shields, so that's nice. Regardless, locking down mobs is good, but very hit or miss. Ranged mobs can still get you, and most of the time in Apocalypse you want the mobs to clump up, so that way you can hit them all at once or get explosion damage, or activate, this thing. I forgot what it's called. It's interesting and you could build around this artifact, but I think Blast Fungus does the same idea of horde control, just a little bit better. C tier. Hey, just dropping in. I forgot to record this one, I think, the first time. It's the Deathcap Mushroom, and I'm surprised I skipped it because this is like the best artifact in the game. It doubles your attack speed and gives a nice speed buff. It's really valuable because it increases DPS by increasing the attack speed, not just the damage. So it also allows things to proc more, like Thundering or Radiance. Radiance is the most important of those. It does mess with Void Strike bonuses because it makes it attack faster, but simple solution, just use something else. S tier at practically every point of time, especially since it lasts forever with just one cooldown at max Apocalypse. This is a pretty special artifact because you can only get it from the Mushroom level or from the Hidden Depths DLC, but I didn't know that it could happen. I just figured that out while researching. It summons one of 3 sheep, one that's like a player enchanted with Burning, one that's a player enchanted with Poison Cloud, and one that gives you a speed buff. Unfortunately, these are all kind of mid, and you can't really build around them with the focuses because you don't know which one you're gonna get, and I'm just not a believer. D tier. The Enchanter's Tome is from the Howling Peaks DLC, and is the strongest artifact in the game when it comes to multiplayer. It enchants one of your friends with double damage or quick attack or quick or some other broken enchantment that is usually reserved for mobs, and it annihilates the balance of the game. Now, there's a but, and that's you need friends, and I don't really do that. So we're going to put it in F tier for friends. In the single player, it just enchants your pets, which is much less impactful. But yeah, this is really strong in multiplayer. The Eye of the Guardian is like the Corrupted Beacon if it was significantly less cool and significantly less strong. From the Hidden Depths DLC, it doesn't use souls, and is so incredibly hard to use and rotate with, and it has a long cooldown, and the damage is like not as good. It's just not, why would you use this? It's so bad. F tier, I'm gonna move on. The Fireworks Arrow I think is the first artifact you get, either that or the Fishing Rod. It's a really cool and great early game artifact, giving a good way to get area damage on early builds, and it doesn't really fall off and can be the basis of some really cool looking ranged builds. A tier. The Fishing Rod is I think the first artifact you get, either that or the Fireworks Arrow. Now unlike the Fireworks Arrow, it isn't really that good. It grabs one nearby mob, pulls them in, and stuns them. That's kinda useful. It's better than nothing, which is actually pretty important because this is one of your first ones, so you don't have many other options, but it is just eh. Also, stunning doesn't work at high apocalypse because mobs have stun resistance, so you'll just be pulling a full power mob right into your face. It does have a really short cooldown, so maybe you can mix it with health synergy? I don't know, it's pretty trash. F tier. The Flaming Quiver is our first quiver. I guess the Fireworks Arrow is the first actual bow related artifact, but it's only one arrow and it doesn't have quiver in the name, so just whatever. This artifact shoots flaming arrows that apply fire aspect, which isn't honestly that special late game. It's good early game, but even by mid game you could just find a bow with fire aspect, although the fire damage does stack with each other, and the Flaming Quiver applies splash burning compared to the enchantment. You could very much do something, maybe a cool fire build, but something very gimmicky. C tier. The Ghost Cloak is another fantastic piece of speedrun gear. This one is like the boots, but stronger and way harder to use since it has a much shorter duration. It does give the ghost effect, which allows you to run straight through hordes of mobs, which is incredibly powerful if you can muster the 2 or 3 cooldowns to keep it constantly active, or at least you can just deal with not having it constantly active. Whatever it is, great option for speedrunning, A tier. We have our second pet, and it's the Iron Golem. Very powerful, pretty tanky, very strong pet. Maybe the strongest in general because it is the bulkiest lifetime pet. I'm a big fan of this one, but not really of pets in general. Sorry, I think they're cool though. I don't really have much to say about the Golem. I think he's A tier. I like him. He's funny. The Gong of Weakening used to be my #1 artifact, and it still is top 5 for me. It halves mob defense and damage, doubling your defense and damage. It's incredible for hordes and bosses, and the damage from your bows and artifacts, not just melee, deal extra. The reason I've said it's no longer my #1, it's because the one I put at #2 is now my favorite, and I've had some new favorites that I don't know where to place. Regardless, this is so good in all difficulties, and most valuable to Apocalypse, where that halving of damage becomes incredibly important, and, spoiler, #1 also halves the damage you take. Wow, going from the Gong to the Harpoon Quiver is kinda funny. This is from the Hidden Depths DLC, and I don't know why this DLC has so many misses, but I think this is one of them. It gives harpoon arrows, which have built-in piercing, and a little more damage. Also, these arrows work underwater, which I guess is their main purpose. Out of the water though, I feel like the other quivers are more interesting. Not terrible, but yeah, kinda weird. D tier. My favorite soul artifact. The Harvester makes a big explosion using souls, which is really nice. It also doesn't interrupt your melee cycle, so you can keep using Soul Siphon while exploding, and that's why I prefer this to the Corrupted Beacon. A great addition to any soul build at any level. I give this one A for I really like it. That doesn't start with A. The Ice Wand is from the Creeping Winter DLC and is such a weird artifact. I don't know why I find it funny, but it really is. It drops an iceberg like an Iceologer does, but it doesn't track like an actual Iceologer, and it also drops really close to the player, like awkwardly close, and once again, completely lacks targeting. It does pretty good damage and does stun, but do remember, stunning like this doesn't do much at Apocalypse, and it feels like a blast fungus mixed with a bad lightning rod. C tier. Now we have my personal number 1 artifact, and I don't think that's a hot take. It doubles your defense for quite a while, and with a single cooldown at higher levels, that effect becomes permanent. For context, armor built in with 35% damage reduction is practically essential, if not essential, really nice at high levels, and if you've ever used armor with and then without, then you felt the difference. This is even more defense than that 35%, and this stacks with that. This is so important, mostly for Apocalypse play, but it's still so powerful in early game too. Legit, this is mandatory on anything calling itself a tank. S tier, no questions. Love this thing. The light okay, can I be real? This is like a really OP artifact. A lot of people call it the strongest, and I hate it because it doesn't feel like it should be, and I feel like it's an oversight. The stunning part, useless. The roll itself, it gives some height and allows for some funny skips on Soggy Cave, but otherwise unhelpful. It's the roll trigger activation that's broken, and it's all about burst bowstring and cooldown shot. Roll with the artifact, cooldown shot replenishes the artifact, roll again, infinite roll trigger stuff, so you got a swarm of arrows, dynamo, electrified, literally anything with roll triggers becomes overpowered. I don't like it in this way because it feels way too strong and makes the game, in my opinion, you might love it and I don't judge, but I think it feels a bit boring since you practically just hit the light feather button. I don't know. I'm so conflicted on how to put this. I'm just gonna put it in S because I know it's really good. I don't know. So this is the most perfect example of an artifact that just works so much better in low levels. The lightning rod does massive damage by absolutely doming a mob with a lightning bolt. It's a small area of effect, but the quick cooldown and high damage make up for it very well. However, here's the weird part. This is a soul artifact, so you think it'd be good on a soul build, but the issue here is that the damage isn't boosted by soul focus, and instead by lightning focus. Here's the thing, that means with lightning focus, the damage goes even higher. However, that means you need a soul build, but instead of soul focus you have lightning, and then what else are your other good artifacts going to be? What are your other enchantments going to be? It's a weird in-between. If you want a lightning build, absolutely do it. But again, it's really gimmicky. On low levels though, where you just don't have a full soul build anyways, this works great because you probably won't have lightning focus and you probably won't have a full soul build. And this just does a lot of damage. B tier. The Love Medallion hexes 3 mobs and has them fight for you. The game treats them like pets, so Beast Boss and Beast Burst works on them. However, mobs are kind of weaker than normal pets, so in general they don't do much. And the spell only lasts for 10 seconds, making it kind of difficult to use. C tier. The Power Shaker is a fun artifact from the Flames of the Nether DLC. It makes the next few attacks apply an effect which makes a big explosion. It's good area damage and has a pretty short cooldown. Like any other damaging artifact, careful with leeching because if the artifact gets the kill then you don't heal, and that's really noticeable here since it's going off of your melee. But in the end, that just means that this artifact is strong enough to land kills, so honestly, not a huge issue. A tier. Welcome to our segment called Let's Go Gambling, because we are talking about the satchels. Our first, the Satchel of Elements, from the Howling Peaks, I can't spell peaks, Howling Peaks DLC. This artifact does one of 3 things. It applies freezing, fire, or a laser beam from the sky on nearby mobs. Both the fire and lightning are boosted by their respective focuses, but this is such a hard one to build around, and I only recommend it for early and mid game. This one's really fun in the tower because you don't have many other options, and damage is damage, but outside of it, kind of iffy. If you're a high roller, then this is really fun. If you like reliability, then pass this one up. B tier. Our second casino all the way from the Hidden Depths DLC is the Satchel of Elixirs. With the push of a button, get 2 potions of strength, shadow brew, speed, oakwood, density, burning, water breathing, whatever. It's gambling, but most of the effects last longer than the 25-second cooldown, so it actually feels really consistent. And with cooldown shot or cooldown, it actually grants you constant strength and speed with frequent bursts of damage with shadow brew, plus whatever DL stuff is applicable. Really good, really powerful one. Just think about having constant double speed and double, if not more damage, and not needing to breathe underwater and sometimes taking half as much damage. This is such an obviously powerful artifact, and getting exactly the potion you need at the right time is such a hit of dopamine. S tier, and this is one of those top 5 I was talking about. We went from mid to great in our let's go gambling category. So this one's mid. And that reminds us that the Hidden Depths DLC has mid artifacts. It drops a single random food item. 1. That can either mean 1 loaf of bread, which is nice but not incredible, or a single apple, which 16-second cooldown is short, but not short enough, and there are many better ways to heal. Healing is healing though, and if this dropped 2 food items, I'd put it in B tier at the least, but as it stands, D tier. And that concludes our Let's Go Gambling! And now back to your regularly unscheduled content. The scatter mines are a powerful damaging artifact that resemble the redstone golem's landmines. The main issue with these is that they're just very difficult to use. Using the artifact lays the bombs down, and although there are 3, there is no guarantee that a mob will trigger it and take damage, let alone all of them. It's really hard to use, and a weaker yet simpler version is the blast fungus, which is just so much easier to use. These get C tier, but I'd reconsider for B. Okay, this artifact, when I first heard about it, I could not believe it was real. The Shadow Shifter from the End DLC uses souls to grant shadow form for like 20 seconds. This is so nice for speedrunning builds because now you can just run straight through hordes of mobs without worrying they're gonna attack back. It's not faster and technically slower since you're not using tempo theft or else you'll break the shadow form, but it's way faster than dying. Also, great for bosses because you can use the artifacts that just do damage and they don't break shadow form, so you can just safely just sit there and beam down bosses without risking damage, which is really nice for ancients. S tier, and I really want to build a shadow build around this thing just for the fun of it. The shock powder is bad, like really bad. It applies stunning to nearby mobs. Once again, I bring up stun resistance. Snowball and stunning on a fast weapon are the only 2 stuns that really work at High Apocalypse because they reapply, and this has a short cooldown, but not short enough. It's not even that great in early to mid game, so yeah, this is F tier. Wow, more garbage. Actually, I'll hold off on that because it's pretty okay early in mid game since it's a way to heal, which is a much harder thing to find in the early game. However, look at how much this heals. It's like nothing. At Apocalypse, you can farm for leeching or radiance weapons, which heal astronomically more. Even on soul builds, which you'd need for the soul healer, just use Anema Conduit. It's not that complicated. This doesn't do anything after early and mid game. D tier. We've got our only soul pet, the Soul Lantern, which summons a little guy who shoots stuff. He does great damage and has a short cooldown, so if you have enough souls, he can be pretty much constantly active. You do need a lot of souls though, because this guy will disappear if he sticks around for too long. Very powerful pet, but should probably go on a soul build, and since he's a pet, he might need a pet build, and at that point it's very niche and very weird. And also, I realized this while playing, I didn't know that he wasn't boosted by Soul Focus. I thought he would be boosted by Soul Focus. He's not boosted by Soul Focus, and I'm really angry because I thought it'd be funny. Whatever. If you're playing on a daily trial with boosted pet count, this is a good artifact to just toss onto your soul build. Except for the fact that it's not boosted by Soul Focus. A tier. The Spin Blade is from the Nether DLC, and it throws out a boomerang? It throws out a spin blade, which damages mobs the first and second and maybe third, depending on how hard you try to control it, or how much you like to move. It does decent damage and has a short cooldown, so it's honestly not bad, but if you're trying to do tricks with it, then you're not attacking. It's great, just not super synergistic, so I recommend for early mid, maybe not late game. C tier? I don't know, this one never stuck with me. Man's best friend is a drumstick. But no, the Tasty Bone summons a wolf, which does decent damage and has a quick speed, and it's a great artifact for early and mid game. He gets outclassed by the Iron Golem, mostly, so he's not that great in Apocalypse, but if you're using pets, then you don't care about optimization, so you do you. B tier. The Thundering Quiver effectively enchants your bow with thundering, which you normally can't do, so this is a bit more unique than the Flaming Quiver. It's from the Flames of the Nether DLC, and can deal massive area damage with something like a harp crossbow. This is definitely one of the better Quivers, and would be a great option for a lightning build. B tier. Okay, so let me walk you through this artifact. It uses souls to make the last consumable you had. Okay, neat. Why? Why don't you just use a satchel of snacks or a satchel of elixirs? Especially since, if you want a strength potion, but you last picked up an arrow bundle, then you don't get a strength potion, and it has a chance to drop double, but why would you want 2 of the same potion at once? Or 2 arrow bundles? If you're that low on arrows, then you have a problem. I guess you might want 2 pieces of food, but honestly, it's just better to get literally any other form of good healing. It's from the Void DLC, and it should just be thrown right back into the Void. F tier. The Torment Quiver is jank. I still don't understand it, even after this video, and I can't figure out where to put it. Here's the gist. These do good damage, but like, not that good. The damage completely relies on the Torment Quiver power, not the bow strength. So that's either a terrible thing, or an incredible thing. These do really well with bows that shoot many arrows, since each arrow has consistent power, and also, these do big pushback, so you can just like, I'm doing stuff with my hands, but you can't see it. These work really well with the punch enchantment, but in my opinion, since these are soul artifacts, I prefer the harvester for things like that. This one I know interacts with a bunch of enchantments very weird. Like, I bet some roll dynamo thing is broken because it was in the past, but I don't know how this artifact works. I'm just gonna put it in A tier because I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm just gonna pretend that I do. This artifact was definitely meant for like a mid-game party, because this is really bad. It's a soul artifact, and uses a buttload of souls too, like a lot of souls. I think highest in the game. I'll fact check that. It places a totem down which refreshes all players' artifacts who stand in range. The reason this is so stupid for single player at least, is that if your build relied on artifacts so much that you needed to have them constantly refreshed, why would you be sacrificing one of your 3 to make your other 2 a little better? And even more, in order to have souls for this artifact, you need a soul build, but then your other artifacts would be souls, and most soul artifacts already have short cooldowns. This is, with friends maybe. Solo, F tier. The Totem of Regeneration is one of 3 totems, and one of 2 usable ones. It's one of the best early and mid-game artifacts because it heals you and your team, which is very nice since you'll probably be lacking other better forms of healing. However, once you start Apocalypse, other forms of healing outclass as hard. It's still a viable option even there though, so it goes solidly into A tier. The Totem of Shielding is one of 3 totems and one of 2 usable ones. It stops all projectiles from outside the bubble, which drastically increases your defense. The only big issue with this one is just that the enchantment Deflect is in general better and easier to use. Deflect doesn't just negate 45% of the incoming projectiles, but actually shoots them back at whoever shot them. Also, you don't need to hide in a bubble like the totem, it just applies all the time. This is a great artifact that just is too hard to use in a meaningful way. B tier. The Updraft Tomes from the Howling Peaks DLC, and it allows you to be those annoying as heck wind mages. The Updraft Tome launches up to 10 nearby mobs into the air, dealing pretty solid damage. In general, very simple, very nice area damage that doesn't require souls. Very short cooldown too makes this just generally nice. A tier. The Vexing Chant is an incredibly powerful pet from the Echoing Void DLC. It summons 3 Vexes who hold maces and deal massive damage with the trade-off of having like no health, and they're also a timer life. They do well on Beast Burst since you get 3 pets for the price of 1, and their timer doesn't matter as much in higher Apocalypse since pets die all the time anyways. In general, I'd say low A tier. We have our last Quiver artifact, the Void Quiver from the Void DLC. Like the Flaming Quiver, this gives your bow an extra enchant it could technically normally get, in this case, Void Strike, with the added bonus of a splash area effect. It's strong because Void Strike is strong, but then why don't you just use Void Strike? Could be something, but I don't see the vision. B tier. The Wind Horn just feels like it should do more. It knocks back mobs, and yeah, that's it. It's kinda nice, but why don't you just use the Blast Fungus? It's very underwhelming, and in fact, kinda garbage, so it goes into F tier. And finally, our last pet and our last artifact for this video. The wonderful wheat summons in a llama. This and the soul lantern are the only two ranged pets, meaning although this one has an ordinary amount of health, it doesn't take as much damage usually, so it actually lives for a lot longer. It's pretty nice since this one lasts as long as its health lasts, so you'll have the llama for most of the mission. They don't do much damage because of a very slow attack speed, but not bad at all. B tier. Oh, that's it. That's the whole video. That's the artifact video. Every single artifact in Minecraft Dungeons. Researched, compared, other stupid stuff I had to do to figure out how to make this video. It's over. I'm done. I can move on and make other content I've been dying to make. I literally have such a massive backlog of ideas that I've been waiting to put out after this video. It was really fun to make this video, but like I want to do something else. Like for example, I want to make build videos. Number two, there's actually a quick side note. If you look at my emeralds right now and you look at my emeralds like throughout the video, you'll notice that I'm currently down like 100,000 emeralds, actually more than that. And that's because my account glitched and it got rid of all my emeralds. So I had to grind back up for that, and now I'm going to try to get 1 million emeralds. That's going to be a video, definitely. But anyways, sorry, side tangent. The reason I'm playing in Minecraft Dungeons right now is because the longest part of editing is putting in random stuff while I'm talking. So if I just put this stuff in, then I don't have to edit anything. See, aren't you guys so entertained by this very relevant gameplay that's happening that isn't really gameplay? Wow. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Debate me in the comments about how trash my tier list was, and I will make sure to agree with you, because I probably will. But yes, as you can tell, I'm rambling, and I don't know why I want to ramble, because the more I talk, the later this video gets out. This absolutely messes up my watch time. But thank you for watching. Man, I'm so bad at outros. Someone in the comments give me like an outro to use. Because currently my outro is I don't know how to do outros. Speaking of that, where's the stop record button? Thanks for coming, watching, being here. Who gave me a microphone?